with the All Lives Matter video, I thought it was a good, or Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. I thought it was a good time for that video. That was a trendy topic. And basically, I thought that my opinion was unpopular, of course, so I decided to go over it. And I actually wasn't. Basically, what happened was I thought I'd go on Omegle and talk to people about the situation with George Floyd and all that, and ask for their opinion on on the issue or the topic and a lot of different subjects. That might have been what you saw. Might have saw the screenshots of me, my Minecraft character at the bottom at my computer with the other person at the top that I'm talking to on.
Right.
Those were people that I talked with personally about George Floyd, about the whole defund the police agenda, different things, and I decided to take that feedback and take what I've gained from that conversation as well as the video that I kept referencing to, and make a
Mhm.
video on it. And that was me hashing all of that out.
Yeah. So I wanted to say about the thing about all lives matter so that people can really understand, because one of the reasons why I asked you why how old you were is because one of the things I don't think that you really truly understood at the time is that the phrase all lives matter is actually a racist dog whistle, meaning that the statement itself is not inherently racist, but it was a slogan to try to shout down or counteract the Black Lives Matter phrase. So, and then the dog whistle became a real whistle when people started to fully embrace the White Lives Matter phrasing. So, the reason why that is, and I'm not sure if you've kind of figured this out since then, but I'm going to explain this for the viewers. When people were saying Black Lives Matter, they were saying it in the context that you mentioned in the video, that Black Lives Matter as well as everyone else's. The problem is that our government representatives and law enforcement officers are included in government representatives. They are beholden to the law, just like we are. And
Hmm.
everyone is supposed to be treated equally under the law. And what ends up happening is when an officer um, conducts an extrajudicious killing while performing their job
On duty.
on duty, they are held to a lower standard when they kill unarmed Black people. Now, when they kill unarmed white people, the court system recognizes the life that they took, and then they give an appropriate punishment to the officers that took those lives, took whatever lives that they should not have taken. But not only do
Hmm.
officers take the lives of unarmed Black people at much higher rates than they take the lives of unarmed white people, because the number is actually usually around the same or more unarmed white people in solid numbers are killed. But because of the interactions are more heavily skewed towards a much smaller portion of the population, the rate per capita against Black people is several times higher than per capita when you look at that. So per 100,000 people, the rates are much, 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 much higher against unarmed Black civilians than unarmed white civilians. And people need to understand that when you take the life of somebody without due process, that there should be a penalty to pay. And historically in this country, there's very few times that there is ever a penalty paid for taking a Black life. I'll give you an example. There was a woman who claimed that she mistakenly grabbed her firearm when she went to grab her taser to shoot a fleeing suspect. She says
I
she was
remember
reaching
this.
for a taser. Now, tasers are bright yellow, and what she pulled out was not bright yellow. Tasers are about 1/3 the weight of a pistol. She pulled it
And if
out.
you remember, she literally kept going like tase him, or like she was referencing out of her mouth for the taser, and she still grabbed her gun.
even though they're completely different things that don't even look. I mean, one kind of, they both have like a trigger mechanism, but beyond that, there's just really very few.
She should have known what was in her hand, being an
She
officer
knew.
for as long as she was.
No, she knew, and the thing is, she killed this man, and they just released her after 16 months in jail. She took a 20-year-old man's life and got 16 months. The officer that killed Breonna Taylor in a no-knock raid after midnight while she was laying in her bed fired a whole bunch of shots on unsuspecting people at the wrong house. He just got hired by a nearby sheriff's department near where he killed Breonna Taylor. Was just hired last week.
Wasn't he charged with like shooting the wall or something, damaging the property?
Well, the thing is that there were three charges that were leveled. There were three charges that were brought only because some of the excessive shots that he shot, he didn't get in trouble for killing the unarmed woman who was laying in her bed. Got in trouble because some of the bullets hit the wall.
Exactly.
And then went and passed through the wall of somebody else's. And of course, the people on the other side were white. These are the types of stories why people say Black Lives Matter. It's not because, people believe that only Black Lives Matter. It's because Black lives historically in this country have not mattered as much as other lives. And when you are supposed to be the government, who is supposed to hold all men accountable equally, all men and women, because that's also another bias that they have, because women are not treated the same. They are treated much more lenient than men are. But Black people get much harsher sentences for the same exact crimes under the same circumstances than their white counterparts who commit, again, the same exact crime. Under the same exact situations, the sentencing is different. And it just seems like when these officers kill unarmed Black people, they never really seem to pay the kind of penalty that they should be made to pay. So that's, when the government is saying that your life doesn't matter as much as somebody else's, by the lack of accountability that they hold these officers to when they kill an unarmed Black citizen. This is what gave birth to the slogan Black Lives Matter, because as you very accurately acknowledged in your video, people aren't saying that only Black Lives Matter. It's that our lives also matter alongside yours. So when people were saying all lives matter, what they were trying to say is, we want to silence your pain. We want to say to you, this was a horrible thing that happened. But we're now going to start calling you racist in your grief, because we want to take away the spotlight from a white officer kneeling on a dead body for 5 minutes. We don't want you to think about that, because what's more important is that somebody stole a pair of sneakers and somebody lit a wooden pallet on fire and broke some windows. Those inanimate objects, that's the real tragedy. We don't really care what happened to George Floyd because, but you broke windows and you blocked traffic, and that's what's most important. That's the stuff that we're outraged by. That is why, that kind of environment that we live in, where people try to take the spotlight off of what people are upset about, and then try to make it about something else, like what they did with Colin Kaepernick. That's why the slogan Black Lives Matter exists. Now, the organization, fuck them. They're a bunch of scammers. Anyway,